Welcome to Tibalt's Apprentice, Luck of the Draw. And as promised, we're getting back to talking about some more commander stuff. That is the pre-constructed commanders and how to upgrade them. I realize for most people this is going to be, redundant, remedial, maybe elementary. But for those that are new joining the Magic community, and maybe this is their first exposure to Commander, I want to talk about upgrading a pre-constructed deck. First of all, what do you think about the new boxes actually coming with the sleeves inside? My general strategy is not to have a nice, neat play set. I found that by mixing up your decks, you can sometimes mislead opponents to think you're playing something that you aren't, and maybe gaining an advantage that way. It sounds like I resort to trickery to play. I don't. It's just, if you make assumptions, well, you know what that means when you make an assumption. Anyhow, before I get into this, when you make your upgrades, there are three things that I think you need to keep in mind. Three things to keep in mind. One of them is that the pre-constructed decks are never optimized. They are never the best that they could be. These later decks have been better than some of the $30, $40 decks in the past. But still, it never seems like they give you the best of what can be in the deck. They got to leave room for upgrades, they would say, and that's up to you to find your personality and make that upgrade. With that in mind, three things. First of all, they're never going to be optimized. It's up to you to do that. The second thing is to narrow your focus and not rely on your commander. The decks often have some dead-end synergies in there, plans and cards that don't really serve any other purpose except for filler, or at least that's what it seems like. So that's one of the things that you want to do when using these decks. And also, don't rely on your commander. It's a single target that you're going to find is taken out more than once. Why won't my net? Sorry about that. Little problem with my notes. You're going to find that relying on your commander isn't always the best play. Your deck should have synergy without that. One, your deck is not optimized to begin with. Two, do not rely on casting your commander and the narrow strategies and the dead-end strategies that are often included in the deck to begin with. Number three, when organizing these decks, you want to narrow your focus to what you need to do, not what you can do. I know that sounds a lot like number two, but narrowing your focus to what you need to do, a perfect example for me. A lot of elves in this new set. Instead of me just going into my Frail-East deck and throwing in everything that says elf, I'm going to need to see what works in the deck to start with and find out what cards are going to add to those synergies that are already in the deck. Aside from that, we are going to be doing our Elven Empire deck, and something I will do is look into the upgrades that I'm going to make into that later. To actually upgrade your deck, one of the things that I suggest you get is, if I can drag this out of here, a sorting tray. Now this is a little dusty. I haven't used it quite as much. I've got another compartmentalized one, but I was lucky enough to get one of those from my local game store. And you're going to divide your deck into the creature types, the land types, the main types of cards in them. So we have our sorting tray. The next thing we're going to do is break them down into the card types, looking at each of the basic card types. Two very simple things to make your pre-constructed deck better is fix the mana base. Every deck could use a better mana base. If any of your lands come in tapped, then you're losing valuable time and valuable plays. If you put down a land and have to say go, just imagine the other 3 people take maybe 2 to 3 minutes per turn. Right there is 5 to 10 minutes that you're sitting there doing nothing. If in later turns of the game it takes 3 to 5 minutes, now it's 10 to 15 minutes that you're waiting there doing nothing. So I want every land that you put down to be of value. 2 simple lands that I think get overlooked are Aether Hub and Crumbling Visage. While Crumbling Visage comes in tapped, it provides you 1 mana of any color that you're going to need. And even if you aren't playing an energy deck, the Aether Hub allows you to actually get a mana and play it immediately. So it doesn't have to come in tapped. Looking at the newer decks, they're not necessarily going to be as outdated as some of the other cards, but there are going to be cards from the past history of Magic that will do the same thing for a cheaper price. One of the first things you want to do is get on Scryfall. Type in what card you want, what card effect, and see if there isn't a cheaper card in that color to replace it. So the 2 things you're going to do to improve your deck right away: updating the mana base and finding lower CMC cost to do the same thing with better cards. Anyhow, so that's it. 2 is very easy things to get you started on making a better commander deck and having a better commander experience when you sit down to play. There you go. As always, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. You know the drill by now. Thanks for watching. Everybody else gone? Here's 3 more tips to make your deck better. Number one, break the color pie. While you're on Scryfall, find the effect that you want, and then find what other color does that. For example, you're about to be trampled by 50 token creatures. Cast Fog. Oh wait, you're on white? I meant Dawn Charm. Number 2, infinite combos. Every deck should have infinite combos. There are those that argue that infinite combos are not in the spirit of the game. I would argue that every creature you play on the battlefield, every enchantment you put down, every time you build your deck out, you're pushing me towards loss. I'd rather you do it all in a single turn and we can get on to the next game. Number 3, instant win cards. Just about every color has one. While you're on Scryfall, just type in win the game and see what comes up in your color, and be sure to include a few of those cards in your deck. You never know when you're going to need them. It's easy to lose because you're a nice guy. It's easy to let other people have the victories because, well, I can't count how many times that I've sat down at a table and thought, well, I'm going to play this deck first, and, you know, if I don't win, then I'll go to my competitive deck. If you don't sit down with the intention to win right away, you may never get that chance. I mean, people might have to leave. They may only have 1 game in them. It may be 2.5 hours later, and suddenly everybody's got to go to work tomorrow. Oh well, you've missed your opportunity. So I'm giving you permission. Tibalt's giving you permission. Sit down at the table and win. Put those instant win cards in. Put those cards in the break the color pie, and put in those infinite combos. Thanks for watching.